What's up, guys? Welcome to TNT Sports Talk. Today is Thursday, May 2nd. As always, represented by D's Home Cuts. I'm your host, Travis Karcheski, and we have now Truman Karcheski back.
Hello, guys. It's last day of school.
Last day of school. So, like I said on Tuesday's show, this is probably going to be the normal setup for the time being in the future. Because I don't think we're living together next year, so I don't think we're going to have any issues next year. And we'll obviously probably have a third guest pretty much consistently, but from the time being, there'll be no more solo shows.
The only thing that I could see is the work thing, but we'll figure that all out. But
Yeah,
I will be back for most of the shows now, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, but again, no more solo shows. It was a little bit difficult at times, but we grind through it. We got it done, and now we are at Summer 2K19. We're ringing in the summer with a fantastic show for you today. We have tons of topics to talk about, tons of sports, tons of different things to get to. So we won't waste any more of your time, and we'll just roll right into it. Let's go with the NBA. Let's start with the NBA playoffs. 4 amazing series right now. We're going to go series by series, give a line about each one, get Truman's thoughts on some of them. And we'll start with probably the best series, Warriors versus Rockets. Warriors are up 2-0 right now. They won on, when was that, Tuesday night. And in that game, a lot of heat was coming around that game, basically because of the refs. Scott Foster was officiating that game. James Harden's comments after game 1. Basically, a lot of people were waiting to see what he was going to do. And in this game, he did not show up. Harden's game has basically, relied around drawing fouls and shooting threes. And when he can't get fouls, all he has to rely on is threes. And he's not an amazing three-point shooter. He's a good three-point shooter, but he's not the best. And when he can't get the fouls, his game starts to fall away. He really becomes that less of a threat than what he is in the regular season.
Yeah, I just think Golden State's just a whole nother level, than Houston. Kevin Durant, when these two teams play, you can just tell right away. Kevin Durant's the difference. Houston does not have a Kevin Durant at all. And I think that's the difference in this series. Kevin Durant's just been one of the best players in the playoffs, if not the best player in the playoffs so far. I mean, towards the end of that Clippers series, he was averaging 40 points a game or something like that.
He's the best player in the NBA.
I mean, I'm a big Giannis guy, and I'll always defend
There's
Giannis.
Just nobody in the NBA who has his size and can shoot the way he can shoot. And he is top 3 shooter in the NBA, and he's 7 feet tall.
Listen, I think I will defend Kevin Durant till I can't anymore. I like the guy, I like the player, but I just think he's the difference in this series, and he's why Golden State's going to go on to probably their 4th or 5th straight finals, whatever it is, and take on whoever wins the East, which hopefully my Bucks, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, I just think Kevin Durant's the difference in this series. Like you said, they're just not giving Houston the calls they want, but I don't think it's as unfair as Houston is making it out to be. We'll always complain about the refs. I mean, I will always think the refs are for Boston in the Bucks series, and Warriors fans will always think the refs are towards Houston. It's the way it goes. It happens in every single series, and every fan thinks the refs against them. So I just, I don't want to hear it anymore from the Houston fans. I know it's annoying seeing Golden State win, but let's be honest. I saw some calls that could have gone for Golden State that didn't go. So I'm not gonna sit here and defend the Rockets for complaining about the refs because in our lifetime I've seen some bad calls go against my teams, but we're not gonna hear.
It's different with the Raptors. Not the Raptors, with the Rockets. Because every single time they look for a foul, because what Harden does is he shoots a 3, and then he jackknifes his legs out to try to get a foul call with the landing spot thing. So I think the landing spot thing is like the dumbest rule in the NBA. It's so easy to fake. It's so easy to flop. I mean, do you fall? The way you fall, do you fall like with your legs out, kicked out? No.
Yeah, it's dumb, but that's the way.
And the last 5 years, Harden's led the league in free throw attempts, and the second closest guy is DeMar DeRozan with he's at 3,000. James Harden's at 4,000.
Yeah, I think it's BS why he's complaining about the refs and everything like that because he obviously gets all the calls. You know what I mean? He has so many free throw attempts. So I don't want to hear him complaining about the refs at all. But it's just the way of the game. It's the way she goes, and like you can't like complain about the refs every single time that something doesn't go your way because. Like I said, I'm always going to think the refs are for Boston. The Boston fans are always going to think the refs are towards Milwaukee. It's just every single series, every single sport, the refs are never for your team, and you're just going to have to get over that.
Yeah, and I think the NBA sent a message in Game 2 putting Scott Foster as the official there, somebody who the Rockets absolutely hate. And they weren't really a factor in Game 2. I think the only thing was Draymond Green's technical foul, but that was taken away, so no more worries with that. They rescinded that. I don't want to believe it's going to be a sweep, but there's been nothing in these first couple of games that show me that it's not going to be. I think the Warriors have shown us that they're still the best team in the NBA. All doubts that were brought up during the Clippers series have been erased, in my opinion. And I think the Rockets are overrated. I've always thought that, and I think they'll end up sweeping this series. But again, it's going back to Houston. It's hard to win on the road, so we'll see.
I think it's going to be a 5 or 6 game Warrior win. I definitely think Houston will get one more, or at least one. I mean, possibly 2. Like you said, it's hard to win on the road in the playoffs. So I'll give Houston a couple games, but Kevin Durant's the difference maker, and I'll always say that.
All right, we'll go to the next series. Bucks versus Celtics. Bucks fought back after a pretty bad game. You gotta be honest, that was a rough game 1 there in Milwaukee.
Yeah, that was a horrible
rough
game.
Game 1. Tied it up though. It's at 1-1 right now. I guess I'll just let you take it away.
Yeah, I just think, like you said, Game 1 was insanely horrible. I mean, they did everything right to stop Giannis. I told my roommate the other day, I think the only player in the NBA who can really match up with Giannis physically is Al Horford, because he's just a strong guy. Obviously he's not as mobile, he's not as, agile as Giannis, not even close, but his strength can match up with Giannis in the hole and give it some trouble. So that's always a tough matchup. He always gives Giannis trouble as far as driving. But, you saw in Game 1, they just crowded the hole, made it really tough for Giannis to drive, which is obviously Giannis' strength. Giannis gets his money, earned his MVP, got everything down low, driving. Boston did everything in Game 1 to stop that. They got physical with him. They put bodies down there. They made it impossible for Giannis to get down there. So Giannis had to use the kick, the pass out, to Eric Bledsoe, Pat Connaughton, Chris Middleton, whatever it was. And they weren't knocking down shots. I mean, Eric Bledsoe had 6 points. Sterling Brown didn't make anything. He got benched for Nikola Mirotic. You just look at that Game 1, people weren't making their shots. And when you play a team again like Boston, who's got a great coach, great players, physical players, and they can match up with Giannis physically, you need your guys to make shots. In Game 2, that completely flipped. Bledsoe had some nice shots. Middleton was going off. Nikola Mirotic made a few that were really nice. Brook Lopez wasn't, airballing everything like he was in Game 1. So that you saw it completely flip. You have to completely realize that this series is going to be very good, and I think it's going to be a 7-game series. But when Milwaukee makes their shots, Eric Bledsoe makes his shots, Chris Middleton makes his shots, Sterling Brown makes his shots, I don't think there's anybody who can beat us. But that's consistently if they make their shots.
In my opinion, Kyrie won't disappear like that again. He had 9 points in that
And
game.
I don't think Eric Bledsoe will go 6 points again.
And I don't think the Bucks will shoot like that again.
They were shooting like they normally do.
No, I don't believe. I think they were shooting out of their minds in that game.
They weren't.
And
That's normal Milwaukee basketball.
And like I said, I don't think Kyrie will ever disappear like that again. You have to agree. He's one of the best players in the NBA. He's not going to get 9 points again.
Okay, and I don't think Giannis will pull what he did Game 1 again.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Again, it's going to be a good series, though. I think it's probably going to be... maybe Blazers Nuggets could be tighter, but I think this goes 6 or 7. Bucks are going to have to steal one on the road, obviously.
The difference is I think it's going to go 7 games, and that 7th game is going to be Milwaukee. And that's where I completely will be biased as hell in saying that, they have... I think we have one of the best fan bases in the league.
Didn't work Game 1, though.
One of the best, crowds. I mean, Boston's never loud.
Boston's always loud.
Boston's
got a 10 times better fan base than you guys.
Boston's got the worst, most overrated playoff crowd in
You
all
could
of
say that
sports.
about any sport.
Look at the Bruins games.
That's Bruin. That's hockey. This is basketball.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
the
don't
Celtics
see that much of a difference.
The Celtics have a way stronger fan base than the Bucks. Nobody would disagree with that. Because you're a Bucks fan.
But I just think Game 7 in Milwaukee, the intensity will be brought. That's why I think the Bucks will be moving on.
All right, we'll go to Blazers versus Nuggets, the only game that was last night. The Blazers fought back. It was a pretty ugly game. I think it was like 97-90. CJ McCollum stepped up, was that number 2, picked up where Lillard sort of struggled yesterday. And they were able to pick up a pretty good win there versus the Nuggets, which was huge, again, on the road. I love the Blazers. I think Damian Lillard, this is his coming out party so far this season, this playoffs, and he went down a little bit last game, but again, their second, guy, their second piece, CJ McCollum, stepped up in a big way with 20 points. That was huge. I think this series is not going to be as good as Bucks versus Celtics, but I think this will go 6 or 7 just because I think both teams are evenly matched enough. When Jokic, whatever his name is, when he's the best that he can be, he's unstoppable. But I just don't think he'll do that every single game. And you saw it last night. He struggled.
I think that the difference in the series, like you said, Jokic, I don't know why you said Jokic.
It's the same thing.
Is Enes Kanter on him. Enes Kanter is not a great defender at all. He's got some good offensive talent, and he's a scrappy player, but he's not a good defender at all. And I think when he has to guard Jokic, it's a complete mismatch. And that's why I think the Nuggets could win this series in 6 or 7 games. Now, Damian Lillard is an absolute god. I mean, he is an absolute baller, and I think he's one of the most underrated players in the game. I think he's one of the best players in the game, in my opinion. I think you could argue, top 7, top 6 player in the game. He's just making a name for himself. He's very, very clutch, and he can put the Blazers on his back whenever needed. That's the Blazers' chance, in my opinion. They got some good players around him, but if Damian Lillard takes off, the Blazers will win this series. But I just think Jokic, Murray, a well-coached Nuggets team will win this series in 6 or 7 games.
All right, last series, 76ers versus Raptors. That's tonight in Philadelphia. The series moves back to Philadelphia. I think the key to this series, I've talked about it before, if all 4 of the 76ers stars play well, that they're unstoppable. I think they're one of the best teams in the league when they play well. The problem is they're so inconsistent that it's almost sad because some nights a guy's hurt, some night a guy just takes a night off and it just doesn't work. But when Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Jimmy Butler are all playing at the top of their game, this is one of the best teams in the NBA. And then obviously you got the Raptors on their side. With Siakam, I think Siakam's emerged as one of the best number 2s in the league behind Kawhi. He's a huge help for them. They didn't show out, though, in Game 2. The Raptors played really well in Game 1, but then the 76ers fought back. It's going to be interesting to see. Philadelphia is a pretty good crowd, pretty rowdy crowd. What the Raptors do, I think the 76ers end up beating this team, though, and taking it for 5 to 6 games.
I disagree. I think the Raptors are the better team here. I think that Kawhi is...
Talent-wise, the 76ers are the better team. But in terms
consistency,
of... they just can't play well.
The Raptors are more consistent, and I think that that's the key to the series. If Jimmy Butler goes for 30 points every single game like he did in Game 2, 76ers should win this series. But I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to take over like he did. And I think Kawhi Leonard and Siakam's a great 1-2. I think that, if they steal one in Philly, and they go back to Toronto or whatever, 2-2 or whatever, I think that, Toronto will eventually prevail. And I think this is a 6 or 7 game series, though, as well.
All right, let's move on to football. Let's get out of basketball. Basketball's fun, but it's nothing compared to football. Even in the off-season, I think football trumps basketball. But before that, we got to talk about another business that trumps other businesses, and that's D's Home Cuts. D's Home Cuts is slicing the competition around the area, slicing all of the haircut places around Northeast Ohio, just because for $7 you can find the cheapest and best haircut around Northeast Ohio. Me, Truman, and about 90% of the guests we've had on the show have gotten their haircut at D's at least once, or their lifetime clients. Check him out on Instagram at D's Home Cuts. Find videos of all the cuts he's done, and send him a DM if you want to get scheduled for a cut. Summertime's coming up. You're going to want to look your best. and I think D's Home Cuts is the best place to get that done. So go ahead and check him out on Instagram at D's Home Cuts. Check out his YouTube page while you're poking around there too. He's helping a lot of young college kids lose weight as you watch his weight loss vlog videos. So go ahead and check him out, D's Home Cuts, and then his YouTube page is Unlimited Dom. So go ahead and check him out. Football time now. Probably the best thing to talk about, right? We'll start with the Monday Night Football crew. They have figured it out. They're not adding anybody. They're just going to keep it the same without Jason Witten. They're going to move Booger to the booth and keep Joe Tessitore. I really wanted like Peyton Manning. I think Peyton Manning would have been a lot of fun. I don't think Booger and Tessitore are that bad. I just think they're going to get a lot better without Jason Witten around.
I don't know. I just think Booger McFarland's kind of stupid.
Do you know how hard it is though to like keep an entertaining thing going when you have like a dead person in like next to you?
Well, you know I liked Witten.
Yeah.
So I'm probably like the only person in America who thought Witten was a good announcer. But I don't know. I mean, I just felt like they could have done better. I mean, it's Monday Night Football. It's like everybody's favorite night of the week. You should sit down and watch football. You're telling me that you couldn't have got like when John Gruden was there I will always remember that. I mean, that was just absolutely electric. Obviously, you can't have that anymore as he's the coach of the Raiders, but, I just think they need to find another John Gruden. Peyton Manning would have been perfect, but obviously, I think he turned it down. And, obviously, I'd like Brett Favre, but I don't think Brett Favre would want to do that.
He's good on his farm.
Yeah, but I just think they need to find someone who is a likable person, someone who everyone loves, but we'll see what Booger can do. Now he's in the main spotlight.
But like Tessitore's got a big game voice, and I think Booger he brings some good analysis to the booth.
But you go from Trico and Gruden to Tessitore and McFarland. That's a downgrade.
Tirico.
Yeah, you're Jokic over here.
Yeah, but Witten. I mean, I keep forgetting that Witten's in the NFL again. I keep forgetting he's coming back. But I don't know. He was kind of a dead person to me in the booth. I mean, he had some good insight, but his voice was just very monotoned, and he was very boring. And I think that brought down Booger and Tessitore's ability to call a game. And I think now with him gone, I think they'll get better. But we'll see. I guess. Jamal Charles, one of the game's best running backs, has retired from the NFL after about 10 years, 4 Pro Bowls. I think his career could be summed up by injuries. He had a couple ACL tears which killed him, but from my childhood, there was not a better running back than Jamal Charles when he was at the top of his game. I remember 2010, he was absolutely insane, easily the best running back in the NFL. I mean, when I look back on my childhood and I think of good running backs, I think of like LaDainian Tomlinson, and Jamal Charles is probably the second or third guy that pops up in my head. If it wasn't for injuries, he would have been a surefire Hall of Famer, but he's 56 in the all-time rushing list. I don't really think he gets in. I know there's some people advocating for him, but Jamal Charles he was fun. I mean, for a certain amount of time. And if he would have been healthy, I think he would have been a lot more well-known and a lot more of a surefire Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I like Jamal Charles a lot. I mean, I loved his time in Kansas City.
Did you see his handoff yesterday? Took one last handoff from Pat Mahomes.
Cool. That was cool.
Even though Pat Mahomes wasn't his quarterback, but
he never really had a quarterback.
That's true.
I would have liked to see him win more, but I think stay healthy. But I think Jamal Charles is always going to be one of my favorite running backs.
He did the no glove thing, which was weird to me.
Yeah, sometimes he did. I liked that a lot.
I don't like no gloves.
I thought it was cool.
I think it looks weird. It looks awkward. But then he had that dreads coming out the back with that red Chiefs jersey, the 25. He was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he definitely was.
All right, let's move on now to Greedy Williams. Greedy Williams said in his draft interview that you will see the Browns in the Super Bowl next year. Does this piss you off as an NFL fan?
Yeah, because he has no room to talk. One, Terrence Mitchell's a good corner, and Greedy Williams is going to have to compete with him.
That's true. Terrence Mitchell, possible guest option that turned us down. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, he's a good corner. He's scrappy. Why does Greedy Williams think he's, like, automatically going in there as, like, the number 1, number 2 guy? Like, calm down. You haven't played a snap. You haven't even been in, like, a practice yet. Like, you need to chill out, relax, sit down. There's a reason you fell to the second round.
And I think that's because the spotlight was on him in the draft process. And by saying this, I think it puts the spotlight back on him again. I think we're all going to be watching him now and how he plays. And like I said, the last time the spotlight was on Greedy Williams, it did not work out for him. It did not work out that well, and he fell to the second round when he should have been a top 10 pick based on talent alone. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I will definitely be pulling against Greedy Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I said it. I get your thoughts on this. I said John Dorsey's draft strategy, basically, like, he drafts well. He picks good talent. But the reason why he picks good talent is because he takes risks on players that nobody else wants to touch. I mean, like, Greedy Williams was kind of like that. But, like, I look back at, like, Antonio Callaway, Tyreek Hill, and sometimes it pans out. Sometimes it works out well.
Mack Wilson, even they got Mack Wilson. He's a character as well.
Yeah, sometimes it pans out. Sometimes you get a guy like, Antonio Callaway had a good year and he looks like he's turning it around.
Yeah, but then you also build disasters like Tyreek Hill in Kansas City.
Yeah, but John Dorsey gets cut, he gets fired, so he doesn't have to deal with the disasters that's going on right now in Kansas City. He's somebody who, like Coward was saying yesterday, what John Dorsey's doing in Cleveland is he's just collecting talent, it seems like. And he's not, like, you got to build a team. Like, it's fun to collect talent, and collecting all these pieces, these fun, flashy pieces, it's fun. But when you get them in a group, they need somebody who's going to mesh them together to create a team. And when you take a first-year head coach like Freddie Kitchens, it's going to be tough. And you got a lot of big personalities now in that locker room.
Personally, that's why I think they should have hired Greg Williams. Because Greg Williams is someone who looks like he can contain that type of mentality and like he can build and mesh a team because he doesn't put up absolutely anything.
No. And
not saying that Freddie Kitchens doesn't do that, but Freddie Kitchens is a first-year head coach who a lot of people don't think is ready for it personally. But, I just think that Greg Williams should have been the guy there because you saw what he did and the way he was able to contain players. But we'll see what Freddie Kitchens can do.
Yeah, and I just think, like I said, they're just collecting talent, it seems like. Like, on paper, this team is one of the best teams in the NFL. But when they start the year, like, let's say 1-3 or something like that, because they have a lot of hard games early on in the season, and, they asked for the primetime games, and they're getting them now. When they start the season 2-2, 1-3 or something like that, and Odell's complaining because he's not getting enough balls, and then next thing you know, Terrence Mitchell and Greedy Williams are fighting over who gets the starting spot, and all this stuff starts to come out. Is Freddie Kitchens the guy who's going to be able to handle it? You need somebody who's experienced. You got Steve Wilkes on the staff, but, I mean, he's not a guy who's going to...
Obviously, he had trouble with that last year. Even, being a head coach for 1 year and getting fired, obviously there was some issues there.
Yeah, and I think it's just going to be interesting. I don't know. I think a lot of Browns fans are talking to themselves. I get why Browns fans are acting like this. Because if you haven't won for your entire life and then they finally start to collect talent, it's just, it's fun. I get it. But I don't know. I would kind of be weary of taking guys like Greedy Williams who are going to, talk about this in the press, acting like he's already has a starting spot locked down when there's a lot more guys there who have played a lot more snaps in the NFL. So we'll see what happens. But, I mean, yeah, we're rooting for Terrence Mitchell, but, I mean, he did stand us up for an interview.
That's all right. We're still pulling for him.
Yeah, so I don't know about that for me, but we'll see what happens. I just don't think he should have said that. Now the spotlight's on him. Speaking about spotlight, next year 2020 NFL Draft is coming out. The odds were released for the first overall pick, and I don't think it's a surprise that Tua is the favorite to be the number 1 overall pick next year. So we're going to go through. I got about 5 guys here who I think could be drafted into the top 10. We're going to do a way too early look at the top 20 2020 NFL Draft prospects. And we'll start with that quarterback class because that's where you start almost every single year. 3 guys now, Tua, Justin Herbert from Oregon, and from, what's Fromm's first name? Jake Fromm from Georgia. Those are going to be the 3 guys. However you rank them, that's how it's going to be. And you're going to see all next year through February, March, April, you're going to see NFL draft analysts try to rank these guys. And there's going to be talk about who's going to be the number 1 pick. I don't think Tua is going to be the number one pick. I think he's flashy. I think he's Deshaun Watson. And I think he'll just be this type of guy who has a decent year beating up on the bad teams. But you've seen when he goes against good teams, he sort of falls apart. I think that's going to be a red flag for him.
I don't know. I like Tua.
I like Herbert a lot.
I think that Tua's just got to stay healthy. He's got to prove that he can just not, last on that ankle for an entire year. I think Tua could be a clear shot number one pick, but it just depends on who as well. Like everyone's like Miami, but is Rosen going to get that done to him again? Or can Rosen win some games to
that would be so
keep
funny
off
if Rosen gets traded again.
I feel bad for the guy, but
you say he's a bust.
I think he's a bust, but I'm pulling for him at this point.
Okay, well then he's not a bust.
I don't know. I just think if Rosen can win enough games to keep, he's really got the pressure on him. Because if he can win enough games to keep them from getting the number one pick or top 5 or whatever, then he'll be good. But then it just comes down to who needs a quarterback in the league. I think Cincinnati's going to be in the quarterback market here soon. I think Oakland could be a team that is on the edge.
I think
of
it's
quarterback
going to be
market.
The Buccaneers and the Titans. One of those teams are going to be looking hard because they're going to decline the option on either Jameis or Mariota, depending on how the year goes.
Yeah, I agree. Those two teams are teams to watch, and I think you would agree with me on Cincinnati.
I think the Andy Dalton experiment is sort of becoming stale in the entire eyes of
and
everybody.
then you look at teams with older quarterbacks.
Chargers. But Philip Rivers is still slinging it. I don't think you got to waste that big of a pick.
And then, Green Bay. I'm not going to say that Aaron Rodgers is even close to retiring.
No, we're Trevor Lawrence 2021.
Yeah, I'd like that. The Patriots just got Jarrett Stidham. Is he the answer? Nobody knows. So it just depends on who the quarterback market's going to be next year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something to watch for. I remember, we were watching the draft, and Dom was talking about it. He said, oh, what do we do now? Every team has a quarterback. Which is on paper, but once we see the season play out and injuries happen, all this stuff, you'll see teams that their quarterback issue is pretty clear. I mean, we thought at the beginning of last year that the Redskins had at least had a quarterback for the next couple of years, but then freak injury with Alex Smith happened, and next thing you know, they have Josh Johnson and Mark Sanchez starting meaningful games for them. So things can happen, things can change really quickly. And these 3 guys will easily be on the top of everybody's draft board come April next year.
For sure.
2 guys then, 2 non-quarterback. I think Ohio State's always got a prospect in the top 5, and they have it again this year with Chase Young. Fantastic young pass rusher. He's going to have a big season for Ohio State. No more Bosa is going to be around him, so he's going to be facing a lot more double teams. So it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces from that. But he's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got the strength to be a top 5 pick, and it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I think he'll be a top 5 team that already has a quarterback like the 49ers this year. We'll see what happens. But then the other guy is LSU safety Grant Delpit. He is basically, from what I read online, they think he is going to be one of the best defensive backs in the country, and he's basically Josh Adams. What is
Jamal
it?
Adams.
Jamal Adams. I'm off today. Jamal Adams 2.0. He's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the speed to cover the entire length of the field and go up on the last scrimmage and make a hit. So I think he'll be a top 5 pick. So that's probably going to be your big board there.
Jerry Jeudy too.
Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver class is stacked.
Yeah,
next year.
That's good for the Packers.
That's good for. Well, we got Jamon Moore. He's fine.
Yeah.
But that's it for that. That's it for all the prospects there. So we'll keep watch on that, though. As the season goes, you look, Greedy Williams would have been our 2019 top prospect list, but he fell after last season. And I think a lot of guys fell, too. Like Greg Little from Ole Miss, he was going to be a top 15 pick. He fell. And things could change. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go to baseball. It's Thursday. And what do we do on Thursdays, Sherman? With baseball?
Go through the standings.
We go through the standings. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's go ahead and check in on some of our favorite teams here. Let me pull it up real quickly here. First month of baseball is over. So you can start to kind of get a view of where teams are, where they rank. I think the famous line is you have to wait for Memorial Day before you can really tell. But a month through the season is a pretty good sample size to where you can start to get an idea of where teams are and where they are going. We'll start with the American League. American League East. The Rays have the best record in baseball right now, I believe. And yes, no, they don't. The Cardinals do, actually. But they have the second best record, first best record in the AL. They're 19-11 right now. The Yankees are breathing up on their heels, though, 2 games back. Meanwhile, the Red Sox, they're floundering right now. They're still in 4th place, although they have won 3 in a row, so they are sort of charging. But they are still 5.5 games back from first. It's early, but still, Red Sox are concerning. That bullpen is really a scary thing to see if you're a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, I think the Red Sox are an interesting team, but they're like one of those teams that I think is going to just pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, it was the
I'm
talent.
not going to sit here and think that they
got Mookie Betts. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't think that the Red Sox are going to be like a. I think they'll be in the playoffs.
The Yankees are interesting because they're winning still, and they are like absolutely devastated by injuries right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Stanton's hurt. Judge is hurt. I mean, you could just go down the line. Gary Sanchez is hurt, and they're still like they're right there. I mean,
the interesting thing is going to be, can the Rays withstand? Can the Rays hold off the Red Sox and Yankees?
That
Can
pitching
the
staff
small market Rays
is good.
Hold back the Yankees and Red Sox. If the Rays take that division, then you're looking at the interesting scenario of a possible, in my opinion, if the Red Sox really, really pick it up, like what if the Yankees and Red Sox were a wild card game?
That would be
insane.
Very well. They did. No, what was the last year? They had a series last year.
Yeah, they had a series, but just like a one game in New York or Boston.
It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the AL Central. The Twins are leading that division. Indians are right there, 2 games back from the Twins. They lost last night, and they lost last night, but I don't think any fans care about that. I think what fans care about the most is Corey Kluber. He got hit by a pitch yesterday that ricocheted back, and he put his arms out to try to block it, hit him directly in the arms, and now it comes out that he actually broke his arm, and he'll be out for a couple months. That is really scary to come out of my mouth as an Indians fan. But we do have Clevenger still on the shelf right now, but he is coming back, I guess, soon. I know we reported that he was going to be out maybe to September. That was like the latest I've seen. But are there reports now that he could be back by June? He said yesterday that he started throwing already, and he's pitching at about, I think he said 80%. And if he really wanted to, he feels like he could easily throw 100% right now. But they stuck him with that 60-day injured list tag. So he can't come back, I think, till June. But when he comes back, that's going to be a huge help. But with Corey Kluber out for a couple of months, I think signing a guy like Keuchel could make some sense for the Indians. They don't have any left-handed starters, and they could really use a 5th guy now with Kluber going on the shelf for a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's a big loss. You're not going to sit here and tell me it's not.
I mean, he has like a 6 ERA right now. He's been playing pretty bad.
Yeah, but I mean, that's still Corey Kluber. That's still your guy. That's still your ace. I know you guys have a deep rotation. As far as talent goes.
Yeah, we do.
But
we do.
Great, but you lost your best one.
No, it's not our best one. Ours our best one.
I think Corey Kluber, he's been one of the premier pitchers in the league. Yeah, he's had a tough start to his season, but still there was. I mean, I would not have doubted him, just going off and picking himself up right away. So it's going to hurt, but, like you said, if they added a guy like Keuchel, that would make a lot of sense for them. But overall, I just think, I'm not going to say, I really don't want to argue with you right now, but like the Twins, they're playing good. But the Twins have not proven, they are not a proven team yet at all, because they're still the Minnesota Twins. I think you'd agree. So I think that this is not really going to be a concern. Like, I still think the Indians will win the division.
We just got Lindor back. Kipnis is still getting in the swing of things. Carlos Gonzalez is slowly finding his stroke. This team's coming together. And we still have a guy like Bradley Zimmer. He's still, almost on his way back here from injury. And Clevenger, you know what he said yesterday, Truman? He said when he gets back, he's going to be consistently throwing 100 miles per hour.
Let's see it.
Let's see it. Yeah, we're gonna be
Let's
seeing
see
it in a couple of weeks
Let's
here.
see it.
So that's gonna be pretty scary for you. Go to the AL West though. Houston Astros are leading that division by a game. Right behind them is the Mariners, who have lost 4 straight. Mariners, hottest team coming out of baseball, and they have slowly come back to form, which is where I think the Twins will do as well. Because I think the Twins lead the league in home runs right now.
Then it's do you think the Rays will come back to Rays form?
I think the Rays are better. I think the Rays are actually a good team.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bunch of weird things in the AL
Like
because
the Mariners and the Twins, they relied pretty much all of their runs based on home runs. And yeah, that's fun, but it's not consistent. You're not gonna hit the crap out of the ball for all season.
especially because you got different parks. Some are hitter parks, some are pitcher parks. So it just depends on where you're playing, really.
All right, let's go to National League. You want to go to National League, Trim?
Let's go.
All right, we'll go to the NL East, where the Phillies still lead in first place there. Braves are right behind them with 2 games as well. The Mets, they're right there with 2 games. Phillies continue to do their thing. The pitching is good. It's not great, but that lineup with Bryce Harper, Bryce Harper's a beast. I think everybody can agree. Hoskins has turned into one of the best players in the MLB right now. I believe he's batting, let me see here. He's batting .278 right now, so that's not great, but it's not terrible. But everybody else is pretty much hitting the crap out of the ball right now. So yeah, Philly's still at first place, but it's a tight division. I think this will be the tightest division for the entire season.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Mets, Braves, Phillies, they're all going to get on the wire. Obviously, the Phillies just now they
You
got
can
that.
even throw the Nationals in there too.
Yeah, you really can. That whole division is talented, and they'll all give each other trouble no matter what. I just think the Phillies, they got that star power now with Bryce Harper. They got that Bryce Harper swagger. So I think the Phillies will eventually prevail. But I do not sleep on the Braves at all. I love the Braves. I think they're, one of my favorite teams outside the Brewers. But I just think that this year just seems like a Phillies year for, winning that division.
All right, you want to go to the NL Central?
Sure.
You want to check in on your Brewers there?
Sure.
All right, let me go through here. Let me try to see where are the Brewers? I keep scrolling down. Oh, third place. Okay. So the Cardinals are in first place. All against the Cardinals are the hottest team in the league right now. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They've won 5 straight. 20-10, best record in baseball. Paul Goldschmidt has been on fire. I think he is right now the best addition from the offseason. I think everybody could agree with that. And he's absolutely killing the ball right now. Cubs are right there, second place, 3 games back. Brewers are third place, 4 games back. It's still a tight division, like I said. We're only a month through. But it is concerning. If you're a Brewers fan, though, Yelich is hurt. He's got a back injury.
This weekend.
Back this weekend.
I just think, I'm just going to say, this is my quote of the week. Baseball's a hot and cold sport. I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, I think everybody knows that.
No, I don't think people know that. I don't think you do because you think the Brewers are done.
Well, you think Christian Yelich is going to win the MVP
Because
based off 1 week.
remember in July last year when you said the Brewers are done and they're not winning the division.
I remember, though, this year when you said Christian Yelich
So
is
if
the
you
MVP.
want to say that in May this year, that's fine. It's just a couple months earlier, and I think it looked bad for you.
And
So-
I mean, you can also take a look. Christian Yelich has 14 home runs. I think 13 of them are at home.
Great.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I just thought that was an interesting stat.
That's awesome. He's a home player.
I mean, obviously Miller Park's one of the easiest places to hit home runs, and when you hit all your home runs at home, and then you act like you're some home run god. I mean, you're not because you're hitting.
It's
them
tough
at
for
one
our
of the
pitchers
easiest
too,
places.
then, right?
Why?
Because it's a home run park.
Yeah, but it's your home field. You're consistently playing there. You know where to go. You know how it works.
Everybody knows where to go on their home field.
I just think it was interesting on why you're getting defensive.
Our
about
pitchers
it.
have the same amount of trouble in our home park.
Oh yeah, well your pitching staff is also ass. So
All right. Well, yours is out for 3 months.
okay, well we have Cy Young. So NL West will go here. I think one of the more boring divisions in baseball. Dodgers, they are in first place, 20-13. They also have a great record. I think it's the second best in the league. The Diamondbacks are right there with the game back. So are the Padres, 2 games back. I think this will be how the division shakes out. I think that Dodgers will win this. Again, it's a hot and cold sport, like Sherman said. That's his quote.
That's quote of the week. Tweet it too.
All right. Dodgers, still, though, I think with the talent they have, they're going to win this division. That's all I got to say about
I mean,
that.
the Dodgers are just the Dodgers, but they will still choke eventually.
All right, let's move now. That's through everything we wanted to talk about. But we got some segments I wanted to crack into. Again, so summer, feeling a little bit frisky. We have a little bit more time on our hands to come up with some segments. So segments are going to be coming at you hot and heavy this summer. So be prepared for that. A new segment we have is called An Athlete You Need to Be Aware of. This is an athlete from any of the major sports that maybe not a lot of people know about. We didn't know Truman's gonna be on the show today, so he doesn't have much research. But
I got some guys for you.
Well, we're just gonna do one guy.
No, you do your guy.
No, we're gonna do one guy that's not from any of our
guy.
teams because I can say anybody on my team.
I got my guy, Pat Connaughton.
Okay, Pat Connaughton's a white Notre Dame
from
basketball
the
player.
Milwaukee Bucks. I think he's just gonna come into form this series for the Bucks. He's a good shooter, scrappy defender, good rebounder. I think he can guard anybody on the floor if he wants to.
Pat Connaughton can guard Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember that name. Remember that name. I think he's really going to help the Bucks pull over and win this series.
Pull over. That don't make sense. All right. Now we'll get to the real stuff here. Oh wait, no. We have one more thing with baseball. I actually lost. CC Sabathia reached 3,000 strikeouts, 17th player ever in MLB history. CC Sabathia has a place in both mine and Truman's heart. Played for the Indians, played for the Brewers. So, clap it up for him.
That's my guy.
That's CC Sabathia. I think a lot of people love CC. Third left-handed pitcher to ever reach that 3,000 strikeout. So, give him props there. Almost forgot about that. All right. Let's do athlete you should know, the real story here. Jeff McNeil. You know Jeff McNeil, Trum? Jeff McNeil is the second baseman for the Mets. His nickname is the Squirrel. Jeff McNeil he's a Brian player. All right, I guarantee you Brian Leonard knows this guy.
Yeah,
all right?
Probably.
Because he is, I'll read you his thing. He's batting .370 with 4 home runs right now. He's only struck out 11 times this season.
That's insane.
He's one of these players, old-timey Brian Leonard type of player.
That's insane.
Very low strikeout rate, very high contact rate. He puts the ball into play, and you know what else he does, Trum? He uses a knobless bat. There's no knob on the end of his bat.
That.
Jeff McNeil, that's an athlete you should know. Second baseman for the Mets. One of their young, up-and-coming prospects right now. Along with Brian's guy, Alonso, the polar bear there. So the squirrel and the polar bear, the Mets are kind of building themselves a zoo right now. So Jeff McNeil, that's an athlete you should know. All right, let's do one more here. One more segment. We're bringing this back. We're dusting it off out of the woodwork. Crazy non-sports story of the week. This one comes, I think, from Ukraine or something like that. I don't know. They found a whale in the water. I guess that's where you would find a whale with a harness strapped to its body. Basically, what they think is that the Russian Navy is doing some sort of science experiment with these whales. Don't really know what to think of this. All I did was type in crazy non-sports stories, and this is the first thing that popped up, and it kind of piqued my interest. I'm not a big whale guy. I don't like whales that much.
Why don't you like whales?
They kind of freak me out. I'm not a big fan of whales. All right?
You just like this picture of me and Brian. I'm sorry, but keep going.
Okay, but I'm not a big whale guy. Like I said, they kind of scare me.
I could see that. They're kind of creepy.
They're like the biggest thing in the world. You imagine swimming in the ocean and the thing pops up?
I'd rather swim next to a whale than a shark.
I don't know. Maybe, I guess. A whale won't kill you. But whales they just look gross.
Are they killers? Do they kill people?
Don't the orca killer whale?
Probably.
Do they kill people?
I don't know.
Oh, we can look it up. But what's your opinion on whales, Trim?
I don't mind them. I don't think I'm ever going to come face to face with one, so,
It's just the way
they live their life in the water, and I'm going to live mine outside of the water, and I don't think I'll ever have to deal with one, so I don't care.
People.
But is this the thing that they're swallowing straws and people are freaking out about that?
That's turtles, I think.
Turtles are.
Killer whales don't usually kill people.
Okay.
Sometimes. Every now and then they do. Scary. But, yeah, I'm not a whale guy, though. I just thought this was sort of interesting. Cause I guess I don't know what Russia's doing with whales. I don't know why they got a harness strapped to a whale's body, but I guess, hey, whales, are interesting creatures, and I guess they could do something with them. So that's a crazy non-sports story of the week. Again, segments, they're coming hot and heavy. This summer is going to be a huge summer for us. We'll get to that at the end here. But that's it for our show. We want to thank you to our sponsors, D's Home Cuts. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Leave us 5 stars. Rate, review, subscribe. Follow us also on Twitter at TNT Sports Talk 12. It's the summer now. We know a lot of you guys are coming home. Send us a DM if you want to be guests on the show or if you have questions, comments, concerns. It's the summer, like I said. We are expecting this to be a way bigger summer than last year. Not only are we going to be having guests in and out, guys who haven't been on in a while. Got to get some hockey guys in here soon to help us talk about
Bailey's back.
Bailey's back, number 1 hockey expert in Medina, although Josh Gower and George, yeah, sorry if I forgot about that for a second. They are also talking like they're the number 1 experts in Medina, so maybe we'll get some beef going there. We're covering a basketball league this summer, going to have some interviews from that. This is going to be a huge summer, and on top of that, we're still at that 9-athlete interview. We want to get to 10. We're right there. We've had a couple athletes flake on us. That's, nature of the game right there. But we're going to nail that down this summer, I can guarantee you with that. So, Truman's going to be a fun summer.
Definitely. I'm excited for it, and, I'm just, obviously we're pretty jacked up as we both
We're back in business.
Exam this week.
We're back in business.
Sure.
TNT Sports Talk is back. No more solo shows, no more Cowherd. It's going to be us for the rest of it, and obviously going to be another guy when we get him in here. And maybe we get some girls on. We've had one girl on. We've had 2 girls on. One was Taylor, and the other one we won't mention. But that's it for our show today. We want to thank you to our sponsor. That's where we'll end the show right there. Thank you to our sponsors.
That was the worst show, by the way, too, but keep going.
And tune in on Tuesday, guys. Thanks.
All right, go Packers.